Elizabeth here, Pilates on Grand. Just want to talk to you about training shoulder strength and what it really takes to prepare your shoulder for any kind of a workout. And before I get a client, working on the reformer, doing any arm shoulder exercise or even on the Cadillac, I want to make sure that they actually have some, decent range of motion. And what I find is that most of the people that come into my studio are missing quite a bit of range. So first thing I want to do is either sitting or standing up. I just have them, keep their shoulders and their hips square. Make sure that their core is stable. So we're just going to focus on the movement of the shoulder, and this is very, very simple. So we want to look at the movement of something that's really very complicated. So you have 4 joints in the shoulder, and in order to really train this, the 4 joints have to work pretty well. And believe it or not, with arthritic changes and micro tears, a little bit of damage here and there, you can actually do this. I have all those things. So, and I've trained clients that have come to me with an MRI and, hey, I've got rotator cuff tear, I've got, labrum tear, I've got this tear, that tear. And today I have people that have amazing ranges of motion. They really can move quite well. So anyhow, so again, we start with everything square, keeping the core engaged because this is attached to all of that, and in many cases, movement of the arm means, a lack of stability through the torso. Okay, so with a very straight arm, I'm going to start by moving that arm forward at about 90 degrees. I focus on the rotation upward of the scapula. Forget about the rotation part, just think of the lifting part. So here the scapula has to come up quite a bit. And as a dancer, I was trained to do the opposite. I was trained to raise my arm and pin my scapula down, and that is very damaging to the shoulder. So this is the natural way to go, okay, and much more stable shoulder that way. Okay, now I'm gonna go into extension. This is kind of a funky part. If I try to go way back, my body has to move out of the way. So I wanna look at what is my actual range, and it's gonna be I have to reroute the movement of my arm. So I'm just going to go back not quite as much. And now from here, I add internal rotation. This is glenohumeral. I want to make sure I'm just not flipping my palm, which is ulnar radial. Okay, and then I'm going to continue circling back. Now I have more access to extension and bringing it down to the floor. Okay, now I'm going to go from back to front. So again, I just want to make sure, again, good, 360 of support around the torso, and I'm going to go back. I start to externally rotate, and then I'm going to, again, if I try to pull back this way, you can see I'm starting to tip, so I have to route it a little more side. Okay, and then I continue back up, scapula up really high. Now on the way down, I don't want to pull my scapula down. I want to think more about resistance under, from the armpit to the wrist, pushing down that way, but I'm not pulling my shoulder down, right? So I bring the arm down by itself, okay? So real good range of motion. So now I can definitely add resistance to this. So I have a heavy gauge bungee, and the only part that I'm not going to be able to do with this is the extension, the internal glenohumeral rotation part. So, and I can train that. There are other ways to train that part of the exercise without the resistance, just training the glenohumeral movement. So now I have a bungee. I have to make much more effort here. I'm going to tighten up the tricep, and I'm kind of going for the same now. This is a huge stretch though. So as I pull the scapula up, scapula attaches to your back all along and your pelvis, and the attachments go around to the front too. So this is pretty huge. Okay, now I'm going to watch this range going back because I have, I've got some resistance now at the end, so I have to really control it. Nice big stretch, pectoral, bicep, and I get a little bit of internal rotation, so I bring that arm down. Okay, now I'm going to go from back. I watch core stability here because this can definitely, again, these are outer ranges, so they can throw me off through my midline. So I tension, and again, 360 support, up high, pull that scapula up, and then I squeeze deep in the armpit, pull it down. Okay, and on the way down, again, my scapula, I want it to more kind of organically rotate back in, and I don't pull my shoulder down. So that's really, really simple, but surprisingly challenging, and it's all about, again, you know, controlling these very big ranges of motion. And this becomes so beneficial in any kind of training that you do, and even more so in life. How many times do we go to reach to lift, grab something or pull something or lift something from a high place and ended up with, you know, like the spasm or the unbelievable shocking pain in the shoulder. So these are great exercises. This is scratching the surface exercise. There's a whole series that I do with clients working with this type of resistance. And then we go on to really fun stuff on, you know, Pilates equipment. So anyway, Elizabeth from Pilates on Grand, and mobility is #1 in your workout.